Okay, we're live. Hi everyone, Megan here. I'll just give you guys a chance to see that I'm here. I should probably let people know somebody's here. Hello. I'll just close that. For some reason I can't see who's popping up live. That's okay. That's all right. Welcome. This is the first book club meeting for the Money Mindful podcast. It is the book Spenditude. We are discussing Spenditude. I'm going to give you guys a chance to get in here. So while we're waiting for people to come on, I will introduce myself. So I'm Megan. I am a teacher and life coach and host of the Money Mindful podcast and also host of this book club. So there's a whole lot of us who have been reading Spenditude this month, and this is just to get together to talk about the book and talk about what we've learnt, what we think about it. Did we like it? Did we hate it? Oh, hate's a strong word. I'm fairly sure there won't be too many haters out there, but we want to talk about what we have learnt. Hello, and for those of you who are joining, I can't see who you are for some reason. I'm just tapping on here and, oh, hi Sarah. Sarah's here. Hello, great. Okay, so that's working now. Unfortunately, I think you need to tap on the actual post. So if you tap on my face or my nose or something, and then I can see that you're here. Okay, Sarah's made a comment, so I know that she's here. So if you are tuning in live, say hi, give me a wave, shout out, because then I can see, Nidhi. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Nidhi, I'm so glad that you are here, and I am also apologizing ahead of time if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, but it's great to see that you are here. I'm not sure if you heard before, I just gave a little brief introduction. So as most of you already know, I am the host of the Money Mindful podcast. I'm a teacher and life coach, and also now a book club host. So hi Bridie, this is our first meeting and we are discussing the book Spenditude. All right, Marjolin, hello. She says, good morning from the Netherlands. Looking forward to seeing what everyone thought of the book. Me too. Hi Linda. Great. Okay, so you're all coming on now. So the first thing I wanted to say is I think how to get the best out of the book club meeting is join in. Because I'm sure that it's nice for you to see my smiling face for a few minutes, but after a while, if you're not joining in and we don't get that interaction, it might not be very interesting viewing. So, the first question I've got for you is, where are you guys watching? Where are you? I'm in New South Wales. I'm in a little town called Lumia. Where are you watching? Let me know in the comments. I'm not sure if there's a slight little delay or not from when you're typing. Let's see. What can I see? I can't see anything, so I'm sure you're typing in where you're from, but maybe there's a slight delay. So Marjolin says she's from the Netherlands, and also, guys, I know I am a teacher, but I'm actually really bad with pronouncing names. I kind of feel like you're supposed to be good at pronouncing names if you're a teacher, but I don't fit into that box, unfortunately. Nidhi, you're in Sydney. Awesome. I see you're not even far. Chris. Hi, Christina from Perth. Awesome. So good. And Sarah from Melbourne. Linda, where are you watching from, Linda? Heathcote in Central Victoria. Bridie, awesome. Okay, so I've got some notes here behind me. So if I just look off slightly, that's what I'm doing. There's not somebody peering in at me or anything through a window. I just got to keep on track somehow. All right. So, well, hi, Beck. So some of you might have heard this story before, but I think it's worth telling. So the whole reason why I am doing this book club and doing the Money Mindful podcast is because of my friend Bridie, who's here. She's in the comments. We used to talk once a week on the phone about all things investing. So I'm an investor. I have hi Ella, I have a few properties and I invest in shares and I take a keen interest in managing my money. I think it's just part of looking after yourself the same way as, you know, we want to eat a healthy diet to look after our body. We also want to look after our finances. And so Bridie and I used to chat once a week and just help and support each other. Okay, just two buddies helping each other out with our investments. But we would get really personal and detailed and frank about what we were doing, about what we were researching, and right down to things like who are you using for insurance and so forth. And I just said, wouldn't it be great if this was a podcast that any woman could just tune in and listen to what people are doing with their money? So the book club is an extension of that, and I really want to create that space for women to be able to come together and learn about money, especially with everything that's happening in the world right now. I'm sure that you can understand and appreciate how important it is for us to know how to manage our money and how to make it work for us. And one of the really great ways, like a gateway drug, if you will, is books. You know, they're such a good way to ease into learning about money. And, you know, I just did a podcast recording last night. It won't be coming out for another month or so. But the guest was talking about how she learned about money from her parents. And, you know, they invested, and so she has this knowledge from them, but not everybody has that opportunity, right? And we need exposure. It's just exposure. It's just actually knowing that it's possible to do things with your money. Because if you've never invested or never known how to manage your money or never had anyone show you, it's like it's outside of your bubble of what you think is possible. But actually it is possible because many women are doing it. And so here we are talking about what we've learned in Spenditude to help us get better with managing our money. So just on a personal note, I am thrilled that you guys are here, and I know that a couple of you are my friends who are here, and I really appreciate you just being supportive and joining in and learning together. I guess one of the first questions I should ask is, who's read the book? It's totally fine if you haven't read it, but let's hear who's read it, and or have you made it to the end of the book? Just write in the comments if you finished it. A yes or a halfway through, or no, I've got no idea what you're talking about, Megan. I just stumbled across you. All right, there's definitely a delay because I ask a question and it takes a little while, but then it pops up. All right, and Ella, where are you watching from? Oh, Ella says, I don't think Ella has read the book. That's okay. Oh, Marjolaine's finished it. Yes, good, so good. It's actually unlike any other money book that I've read. Oh, Bridie says, 1 chapter to go. Sarah says, to be continued. Oh, Nidhi, you did, because when I spoke to you last, you hadn't got to the end of the book. Christina says, haha, bought it and read the first chapter. Oh, good on you. Ella, isolated in Brunswick. Yes, we're actually all over Australia. We've got people from Perth and Melbourne and internationals as well, which is so good. Okay, so, before we go on, I better say, I'm going to announce who won the book. So We did a competition to win the Spenditude book. We announced it on the podcast, which was a couple of weeks ago. If you missed the podcast or you want to find out anything about the book, there is a page on the website where I collate everything. So the information about the book, the podcast episode, and fingers crossed, if this gets recorded properly, I'll embed this in the website as well. So it'll all be there. But 2 people are winning this book, and I'm going to announce it at the end. Okay, so what was the next thing I wanted to ask you? All right, so for those of you who haven't read Ella, I'm not pointing fingers or anything. The premise of the book is that it's not about how much we earn that determines how we are with our money, like the results that we get. It's actually based on our spenditude, or our attitude towards money, according to Paul and Janine. And they categorize us into either a spender, a slender, or a defender. Now, a spender, just like it sounds, is somebody who spends more than they earn. A slender is apparently majority of us, and where we live skinny. So we've got some savings, but we're kind of just not always on top of it. But we're not doing too bad. And then a defender is somebody who is really good with their money. So I'm just curious, what category do you think you fit into? Even if you haven't read the book, from that description, are you somebody who spends all your money, spends more than you earn? Or are you somebody who's really good with their money and you've got a buffer fund and you've started investing for the future? Or do you sit somewhere in between? Just write in the comments, spender, slender, or defender. I've got to say, I think I'm a defender, but you know, I think you can have aspects of different ones. I am not convinced that you have to be one or the other, and I'm interested to hear what you think. So Marjolaine said mostly a defender. Yep. Sarah says she's a slender with defender aspirations. I love it. I love it. Bridie's a defender. Yeah. Christina is a slender. And is this something that you want to change? I mean, do you, because I think the premise of the book is that we're supposed to be a defender, and you know, I mean, I think, yeah, we should be good with our money. But I mean, should is I even want to rebel against that as soon as I say the word should. But can we be a slender but have some defender habits? Nidhi says she's more towards defender and working to stay there. Yeah, that's why educating myself and learning as I go along. Yeah, totally agree. You know, we don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be good with my money, and then boom, we completely change our habits overnight. I do think it is we can be a work in progress, and I think we can change. I personally don't think that, you're stuck in one of those categories. Maybe you disagree with me. Please tell me. I'd love to hear what you think. Marjolaine says, can still do much better, mostly when it comes to discipline. Yeah. For me, I think one of the things for defenders is that sometimes I think we can go to the other extreme where it's coming from this place of, I can't spend any money, or I've got to be so careful with my money. I've got to hang on to the money in case I don't, can't make it again. So, I don't think just because you're a defender, suddenly it's like you've reached this, I'm trying to think of the name of the point of the mountain, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think we can all do better, improving all the time. Because what's the point of being good with your money if you're worried about it all the time? Yeah? I mean, I think that's a valid consideration. Yeah, so Christina says, I definitely want to go from slender to defender. Yeah. So one of the places I want to move to first was, there's a quote on page 28 and it says, awareness, I understand my current spenditude so I can see what needs changing. Ella says, definitely the eBay app was a good first step for me. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but let us know. Elaborate, Ella. Tell us more in terms of making you spend more, or is there something to do with it that is better? Okay, and we've got someone else saying Laura. I don't know if that's hi, Laura, so I'm just saying hi. Okay, so yeah, I think being aware of where you are with your attitude is a great start, obviously, because once you start looking at it and realizing that, okay, so we've got someone on here doing funny buggers. If there's any technical person who knows how I can block them, let's take them off, but oh well, that's all fine. They can learn about books. We're talking about books, not condoms, just so you know. All right, so yes, I've just lost my thought because now I'm thinking about condoms. Sorry, everyone. Right, so the chapter talks about, our attitude and being aware of where we're at. And then we're in a position to change, which I absolutely agree. And then it goes into talking about the chapter on sleep. What do you guys think about this chapter on sleep? Because the premise behind this whole chapter is that when we don't get enough sleep and we don't make good decisions in any area of our lives, and the argument is that sleep is one of these basic needs, and when those needs are met, we're actually in a position to make better financial decisions. I mean, we're in a position to make better decisions across the board, but if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not necessarily going to be making smart decisions about your money, maybe staying up late scrolling through eBay. Ella. So Ella says deleting the eBay app. Right, yes. So the spend temptation wasn't at my fingertips anymore. Aha, yeah. Yes, Marjolaine says, loved it. Being well rested makes such a difference in decision making. Yes. And Bridie, who I know is a mum of a young baby, says, yes, sleep. I loved it. Made so much sense about sleep. And Sarah says, I'm currently in sleep training. Best thing ever. Yeah, me too. This is actually one of my takeaways from the book that I am working on about getting better sleep hygiene and just honoring my commitments to get to bed on time to be able to be productive and do the things that I want to do. Nidhi says, it was quite interesting, and when I think of it, I'm certainly not 100% when I haven't slept well. Yes, it's like the foundation, isn't it, for where we, just like our basic needs, like sleep, food, shelter. Okay, so where to next? So it moves into talking about our money narrative. And, I really looked at this from the concept of being a coach and about the thoughts that we have about ourselves. And I know a lot of you here have a lot of positive thoughts to do with money, obviously, because you're doing things about educating yourself. But I love this, how it's talking about what's the story we tell ourselves about money. Do you have those thoughts in your mind that I've just never been that great with money, or I should be good with money, or I should know better? Like, what's that story? For example, if you think the only way that you can have money is to work really hard, and you know, maybe you don't want to work really hard and so you resist it. There's like a resistance there. I think this links back to the quote about awareness. It's all really about being aware of where you're at and then making decisions about where you want to go. Did anyone think about, you know, their own money story and how that affects them? You know, getting a bit deeper there. So Bridie says, and I'm just trying to click on here, it seems like a simple concept that getting enough sleep leads to better decisions, but who actually commits to this regularly? Yes. Yeah. It's one of those things, isn't it? That we often, it's like stay up late to finish something off and then it kind of sets you up for the next day. Totally agree. I'd love to hear what your money stories are. I know it's a bit of a type, with like a lot to type in, but you know, a little bit about, you know, where you think you've come from. I mean, have you always been good with money? Or did you grow up not knowing anything about it? Or oh yeah, Alice says, oh my God, yes, to resisting working. Yeah, because this is a belief that so many of us have, that we have to work hard to earn money. But is that actually true? You know, it's really interesting to examine these thoughts that we have. Like, have you ever seen an example of somebody who makes money but is not working 80 hours a week or whatever that is in your mind? You know, when you start opening up to looking at your thoughts and seeing what's there, you start to become really aware of your behavior. You know, and I mean, an extension of that with the money story is you can take that further with what do you think of other people with money, or who are maybe good with money? You know, are they a bit tight with their money, or big, and you don't want to come across like that, or you don't want to be like that, so you're generous and you spend. You know, these are all just behaviors that we do, but what are they based on? You know, when you actually start to examine them, maybe it's something you can change, or something that you've done on default that you don't necessarily want to do. So Bridie says, seeing my parents work very hard was the most powerful motivator for me to think about where my money is being spent, but can't see the bottom of it. No, I can't see the rest of it. Sorry about that. But she continues, but I can't see it. No, we might be able to pop that up later. Okay, so do you like your money story? Do you not like it? Do you want to change it? So no, Nid, he says, no, I haven't been so conscious about my money behavior, though I am glad I am there now, that I think more about it as in, yeah, I don't know. I've actually got this really bright light on me. I ordered this beautiful light, so we'd have beautiful lighting for this meeting, but of course, because of everything that's happening, I don't know when that's going to get delivered. So I've got this very hot lamp on me so you can see me, and yeah, if you see some sweat running down my face, that's what's going on. Christina says, I came from a family who were terrible with money. Yes, and whilst I wanted better for myself, I feel into the same negative. Oh, I wish I could see the bottom of it, guys. The message cuts off. I'm working on it. Maybe if I rub my fingers and try and press it again. I just can't read the bottom of it. I'm sorry about that. Marjolaine says, my parents were great with money. Aha. And it rubbed off on me. Yes. Marjolaine is my Instagram friend, and she has an amazing Instagram site, intentional. Marjolaine, write it in the comments and I'll read it out. It's a great one. If you're on Instagram, you should be following her. She gives out great information. So yeah, I can't read the end of that. Sarah says, money thoughts can change so quickly due to uncertain circumstances and or firm choices for yourself and for your future. Yes, Yeah. So circumstances can happen, and we choose to think about that, how we think about it. I mean, there might be some people right now really panicked about money because of our here we go, Marjolaine, intentional millennial, that's right, .co. Yeah, so check her out on Instagram. All right, so yeah, now this is where I wanted to lead to with the money story. Like, if you're wanting to change your money story, they talk about it in the book. It's about finding your why. Like, why is it important to you? And I think many of us now really understand why it's important to have a buffer fund. Yeah, and I think many of us will be learning the hard way right now about finances and reasons why it can be helpful. But that also can seem like such a boring reason when things are going well. When you're getting paid every week, maybe that's not the reason. But when you dig a little deeper, why is it important to you to have a positive money story? Like, why bother? Like, why do you need it? And I think that's a really great, okay, I love the question on page 98. Okay, let's go to page 98. Nidhi says, so many people need a buffer right now. That's right, Ella, totally. The questions, yeah, so there's a few questions on, you probably can't even see that. I don't know why I'm holding that up, but it's, can you think of a moment when you felt really satisfied with life? What was going on? What brought about those feelings? If you look back at the past month or something, or someone was watching you for a month, what would they say was important to you? What has made you happy? What has made you wise? How do you handle the tough days and moments? Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, but for me, my biggest why with money initially was just wanting security. I just wanted to know that I was going to be safe and that I could look after myself. But as I mature, I guess, and now that I've got kids, I think about what example I want to set for my children. And that is a really big, compelling reason at the moment for me to just kick ass with finances. Because, I've got 2 young girls, and, already Amelia, my eldest daughter, today was talking about wanting to have a garage sale because they want a trampoline. And she's 5, and she's like, brainstorming ways to make money. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. Because, I'm just going to go on a tiny rant here, but women, we need to be good with our money, yeah? We need to kick ass with our money, especially as the mums who are watching will understand, when you go through that time when you have kids and you're not working, you might not be the primary earner for a while. These things affect us on so many different levels with super and, setting us up for the future because our money's not going into superannuation. And yeah, we need to be educated. And I want the next generation of women, and particularly my girls, obviously, but, I think the younger generation as well, to know about money and be confident about money and be fine to have aspirations. Like, yeah, I'm going to look after myself, and I'm, going to show my children's children how to look after themselves financially. So, Bridie says, I don't want to have another person look after me financially. Yes, that's my primary motivator. I love it. Yes. Marjolaine says, definitely security, but even more so the freedom and ability to spend time on what you find most important instead of, it's driving me nuts that I can't press the bottom because I want to read your comments, but it cuts off. So I'm sorry I'm not reading all of them. Yeah, okay, so knowing our why is really important. Okay, I want to move into the section on the book about retirement. And I actually really loved this, and I had a bit of a chat with Paul. We talked about it. Paul is on Paul's the author, Paul and Janine, but I also chatted with them at other occasions off air, and we talked about what he likes to call rewirement. So for those of you who haven't read the book, they have a whole section on how we need to look at retirement differently. And that retirement is based on, in the past, it was the man went to work and worked at the same job and then retired at a certain age. And you put money away, this regular money away, and then that supported you in your retirement. But these days it's not like that. We need to adjust, and there's the section on what they're saying with rewirement is that we need to look at it in a sense that retirement starts much early. And what does retirement even mean, in the sense that it's not like there's just this day where it's like a line in the sand where we stop working, and that we need to look at other ways where perhaps we've got a side hustle, or we change to having some sort of part-time work, or looking at the way that we transition into perhaps slowing down our working life, but doing it in a different way. And I think the term side hustle now is becoming more regular in our vernacular. There's so many people doing jobs on the side, creating additional income. The other point they make is that we live much longer now. We're healthier, in society. And so how are we going to spend those later years in life, and what ways can we bring in income? And let's start thinking about it now. Yeah. So Christina says, hang on. Ella says, agree, Marjolaine, don't want to spend all my waking time working. Yeah, totally. Christina, I want to be independent and not have to be at the mercy of anyone else financially. Damn straight. Yep, I want to be able to have choices. Yes. I mean, sometimes I think this is just what money is about. Money is like, it's just paper. Well, in Australia, it's plastic. But it's just a construct. It's a social construct that we have decided that this $10 note is equal to 2 soy lattes, and we agree and trust each other as a society about that. But in actual fact, it is just the way that we trade with each other, and it's not something that's evil. How can it be? You can't have paper, can't be evil. It's impossible. It's our thoughts about it that make it like that. And it's just about learning how to create it for ourselves and manage it for ourselves. So it gives us choices. That's the point. I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but Christina, that's where I was going with that. Money gives us choices. When we have money, we have options. Yeah. So if you're in a situation right now where you've got an emergency fund, or you've got investments set up, you possibly in a position, I'll just pick one example, maybe you can just decide straight away, right, I'm pulling my child out of childcare because of what's happening in the world, and I want to be at home and I can afford it. Whereas other people, maybe, they're having to work when they don't want to work, and it's choices. It just gives us choices. I like to think of it in that way. Nid, he says, rewirement sounds great and totally makes sense. Sarah, yes, go the side hustle. Absolutely. Motherhood, I think, is a great way to it gets our brains working about what can we do differently or what can we do on the side. But there's lots of things like that now that I think that is available, especially in the online world. Marjolaine, we should definitely stop working full time at some point. Yeah. But should never stop making some income. Yeah, I agree. I actually don't want to stop working. Is that a thing? Can we say that? I mean, I'm saying it. I love work. I get so much satisfaction out of work and creating and giving a service. It's such a satisfying thing. So I can't imagine wanting to stop that. And if I did, I'd have to be into some serious crafts. I mean, I am into crafts. Those of you who know that I love knitting and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it'd be boring. You need something to do. Sarah, to keep working and learning in retirement really appeals to me. Andy, hi Andy, welcome. I'm not sure if you've just joined us, but welcome Andy. All right, let's keep this moving along. Okay, so the one thing that I want you to write in the comments now is, what's your one takeaway from reading the book? And if you haven't read the book, what's your one takeaway from just listening to this live and reading the other people's comments? I want you to be clear about what is one thing that you've learned, and then there's going to be a part B to this question. So Ella says, love work, but would also love a bit less of it. Yes, yeah. And not having to do it. I think that's a big piece for a lot of people too. It's being able to have the option to stop if you want to. Bridie says, I value being really good at something. I think it's my work so satisfying. Yeah. We're all in the same boat. Totally, Sarah. Yeah. So what's your one takeaway that you learned from the book? And I'm going to warn you now, I'm actually going to give you a little bit of a homework assignment. Yeah. Don't worry. You'll love it. So Marjolaine says, my number one takeaway from the book was without a doubt chapter 8 about risk management. Okay. Nidhi says, focus on outcomes. Right. Yep, I like it. So while we're waiting to see what people are writing in the comments, what I want you to do now is tell me, how are you going to apply what you've learned? Okay, how are you actually going to apply it? And I'm going to give you my example. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Look, there were a lot of takeaways that I got from this book, but the one that stood out to me the most was actually the sleep. You know, this was a big sort of aha thing for me, and it's a bit of a weak point actually, that the sleep thing. And so what I've done is I've actually set an alarm on my phone, not to wake up, but an alarm to go to bed. So my alarm now goes off 15 minutes before bedtime. And it's just a reminder, because sometimes I get really passionate about things like with the podcast, and I'm on the computer and I'm really getting into it. And before I know it, it's, really late, and I get up early in the morning. So it really doesn't set me up. And so that's what I'm working on, improving my sleep hygiene and my sleep habits. So what are you going to apply? Christina says, my takeaway from the live is that I need to get serious about my financial future and do what is best for me. Yes, totally, because we're all in different situations, and I share a lot about what I do on the podcast with my personal finances, and I do that purely to give you examples of what's possible, not because what I do is the best thing or the only thing. It's just, that's what's out there. And I love that, Christina. Yeah, it's about really doing it for yourself, yeah, and what you need. Nidhi says, sleep better, needs versus wants. Yeah, but how are you going to apply this, guys? So, because we can read these books. I've read so many finance books. You can listen to podcasts, you can, watch something on TV about the latest thing with, I don't know, your superannuation. But at the end of the day, if you just read this and you don't do anything, you're just being entertained. You're just consuming information, right? But the next step is, this is me getting a bit teachery on you. The next step is apply what you've learned. So what are you going to do? Just own it. One thing. It doesn't matter what it is, and it doesn't matter if it's if you just think, oh, it's only a small thing, but it's just one thing. What are you going to do? Marjolaine says, I'm currently going through all my insurance policies, and retirement plan and finding the gaps. And let's see, I'm going to press on it. Nah. That's all right. And she's going to do something else. Maybe you can see it in the comments. And definitely sleeping on a more consistent schedule. Yes, that's more than one thing, Marjolaine. I think you are going for A+ in this situation here because you only need to do one, but that's fine if you want to do more. Sarah says, Dr. Michael Mosley, Fast Sleep book is currently changing my life. Aha, thank you for sharing. I didn't know he had a book on sleep. I thought he was fasting and weight loss. Bridie says, take home message, sort out my will. Aha, yes. And so many variables and unknowns. Yeah, all right. Okay, so drum roll. The winners of the book. We need to announce them. I'm just going to do a little... So we had a competition where you had to write in and say whether you were a spender, a slender, or a defender. And the winners who were randomly selected are, and I'm so stoked that you're actually here, Nidhi. You are one of the winners. So you are getting a copy of Spenditude, and also Natalie Carter. I'm not sure if Natalie is here, if you are someone in the group there, but I will be emailing you officially anyway to let you know that you won, and Paul and Janine will be sending you out a copy of the book. So yeah, that's awesome. You get your own copy. And if you've already got a copy, you get to hand it on to a friend. So that's awesome. All right. And okay, Christina. So more things that people are going to do. So Christina says, carve out time each week to track my spending, go over my finances. Yep. Love it. Addressing other risks. Okay, Andy. So you're looking at other things. Yes. Congratulations, Nidhi. Yes. Yes. Woohoo. Yes. Okay. So before I let you go, there's just one or two more things I want to tell you. Next month, we are reading Wonder Woman's Guide to Money. Now, moving forward, I'd love your input with what you'd like to read, but for now, I've picked this for next month. I've actually interviewed Natasha. The interview's coming out in mid-April, and she is awesome. Okay, we talked about so much stuff that is so helpful for women to do with money. She is a wealth of knowledge. So this is the book I've got for next month. I'd love you to join me. You can buy this book through the Money Mindful website. And just to let you know that if you want to support the book club and support the Money Mindful podcast, buying it through the website is how you can do that. It's at no extra cost to you, but I get a small commission for that as an associate with Amazon. So that's a really easy and small thing that you can do to support the podcast. Also, if you want to find out any information and stay in touch, get on my email list, because that's where I send out all the information of what's happening. You just need to go to the website, and so that's www.moneymindful.com.au. Subscribe. There's a subscribe button in the menu, and it just says join the Money Mindful Ladies Club, because I think that sounds way more posh, and obviously we're all like awesome and posh. So if you join the list, anything to do with book club or what's coming up, I will put it in the email so you won't miss out on a thing. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I hope you got what you needed out of this, and that you can take something that you learn and apply it. Yeah, let's just kick butt with our finances, and we can do this. It's never too late, and we can always be doing small things to continue to grow and learn and just be awesome with our money-making abilities and how to manage it. So thank you everybody for joining in. I am going to sign out now. Thank you.